Jeremy, a hard-fought, close battle against Whitman down in Walla Walla last weekend. Give us your recap of how things went for the Pirates.
Sure. I think it's always hard to go on the road and play on a different surface and, play a quality team, at their place. I thought, for the most part, we competed decent. I thought maybe there was a little bit more for us in terms of getting into the attack and imposing our will. I feel like Whitman probably did that a little bit more to us than we did of them. But there was a lot of guys that I felt stepped up and played minutes that maybe didn't play as many minutes, prior. We were without a lot of guys, whether that was injury or we had a guy away for a wedding, a funeral. It just allowed guys to play in a meaningful game and to play meaningful minutes, and it was really good to see a lot of young guys out there competing against a good team.
This team is young, as you talked about. Is that the difference between that we've played really, really well at home and we've come up just short on the road? Is it a lot of it immaturity?
There could be a little bit of that. I think at some point you have to rewrite the script a little bit where it's like you can't use that as an excuse or a reason, continually down the line. But yeah, we do have a lot of youthful players, and I think there's excitement with that in terms of we have this player and all these guys for a while, and there's going to be some great continuity, and it's going to be, I think, a very exciting ride with them, and as we add new blood. But I think there's probably a lot to that in terms of a little bit of immaturity. I think when you look at our season so far, where we're 5-5-1, and we've played a lot of good competition out of conference, and then through the first half of the conference slate, I think we're 1-3-1 in one goal games, and that you can probably point to that as maybe a reason where it's do we have the resolve to win those tight games? Can we win in overtime where we're 0-2-1 in overtime games, and at some point we're going to have to flip that script, and that's the difference between being 5-5-1, only having 5 wins versus maybe having 7 or 8, and your season's looking a lot more exciting as you get towards this, the home stretch, and as you're competing for things that matter. So I think we're having those conversations daily. We're trying to figure that out. We're trying to, I think, teach, and we're asking the older guys to continue to fight and to scratch and to try to show the young guys. And we're asking the young guys, I think, that we have to maybe do a lot more than what we typically maybe don't ask them to do. Where it's usually I feel like freshmen should enjoy it. They're along for the ride. They try to find ways to contribute on the field, but maybe we don't ask that much of them in terms of their leadership and just overall where they're at with their personality. But I think we're asking a lot more of this freshman group that I think has the right stuff about them. We're asking them to lead at a very young age, and yeah, I think there's excitement about that. I think there's ups and downs to that, but I think it'll be an interesting last 7 games here as we continue to, I think, try to get better and better with each game. And I think as you get towards the end, it's freshmen aren't really freshmen anymore. Where it's they've been here for 2 months and they should be a little bit more comfortable and kind of know what the level and the expectation is. So excited to kind of see some of these teams for a second time, and to, I think there's a lot for us.
Speaking of which, we're going to be back on the road this weekend down in Oregon at George Fox and at Pacific. You just saw them just over a week ago. So give us a scout of what might be the same, what might be different when we play them a second time.
Yeah, so I think, the team that we're focused on is George Fox, because we play them Saturday. So we're not, as far as our mindset, I think that's all we're thinking about. We're not really thinking about Pacific, even though it is, tough in our conference where you do have to flip that switch right after you're done. You got to have that plan in place, for Pacific, and you have to be able to talk about that with your group very, very quickly. So I think what we probably expect very similar games, against them that we saw here, last weekend, where I think George Fox and Pacific, they'll both try to make it hard, and they'll try to be compact and minimize chances. And I think both of them have some individual quality that, you know, if we're not doing the right things, that they could hurt us. And so I think there's challenges with that. And I think there's challenges going into a weekend where you know you got 2 results against the 2 teams that you're playing. So I think we're trying to establish a standard and kind of like, you know, beat to our own drum a little bit. I don't think it matters who we're playing. I think we're always trying to win, and we're always trying to play well. And I think there's challenges when it's like, it doesn't matter if you're playing the top team or, you know, a nationally ranked team. Like, maybe it's easier to get up for those games. I get excited for all of them because I feel like there's challenges with each game and trying to get up for them. Like, you know, I think we want to have a mentality that it's every game's a big game. They all count. It's 3 points. You know, it's 6 points on the weekend. So it's an important one for sure.